Hello, my name is Bridget, and today I'll be reviewing the Disney television show, The Owl House. The Owl House is focused on Luz Noceda, a 14-year-old Dominican-American girl who accidentally becomes trapped in a world of demons called the Boiling Isles, and is taken in by outlaw Ida the Owl Lady and small demon King. On the way, Luz meets many friends and goes on adventures. She eventually must stop the evil Emperor Belos from his mysterious Day of Unity, as well as finding a way back to her mother in the human realm. Although some don't approve of the diverse representations in the show, I think that it's very well made. The animation is charming, the characters are likable, and there are hardly any filler episodes, making for a fast-paced plot. Unfortunately, it has been cancelled by Disney for not fitting their brand, and its third and final season will consist of 3 45-minute episodes. Me and many others agree that this cancellation is unfair to the show, its fans, and its creator, Dana Terrace. It is currently on hiatus after finishing Season 2, and there is not enough time in the third planned season to wrap up the plot. This is probably in my top 3 television shows. I would rate it a 9 out of 10, only because it is a lot more complex and darker than the simple cartoon style leads viewers to believe. My name is Bridget, and this was my review of The Owl House.
Hi, I'm Ramona, and I'm here to review my favorite TV show, The Great British Bake Off. Known as the Great British Baking Show in America for copyright reasons, it is a British reality TV show focused on amateur bakers. A typical season consists of 10 episodes, with 12 bakers in the first episode. A baker is eliminated at the end of each episode, except for the finale, where the final 3 bakers compete to see who will be determined Britain's best amateur baker. Each episode is formatted with an introduction, signature bake, technical bake, and showstopper. For the introduction, judges Paul and Prue, as well as hosts Noel and Matt, will throw together a little sketch of sorts to introduce the theme of the episode. For the signature bake, bakers will bake a fairly regular dessert or other baked good that is similar to something they would bake at home. For the technical bake, Paul and Prue leave the tent and bakers are judged blindly. They take off the towel over their ingredients, not knowing what they will have to bake. Then, within the time limit, they must figure out what to do with the minimal instructions given to them. Paul and Prue then come in and blindly rank the bakes from worst to best. For the showstopper challenge, bakers bake a large dessert or other baked good that is something a bit more special than they would usually do. It typically involves more parts, sculpting, decorating, and the like. After that, Paul and Prue go to discuss who will be awarded Star Baker and who will be eliminated. Eliminations are on a week-to-week basis, so it is possible for someone to win Star Baker one week and then get eliminated the next. For the finale, at the end, bakers' families, as well as previous contestants, get to come and eat what they have made. It's a very wholesome show, very kind. Bakers will help each other out, quite different from American reality TV. It is available on Netflix and PBS. Highly recommended.
Hi, my name is Leanne, and I'm going to be talking about my favorite TV show, Criminal Minds. It's an FBI-related TV show featuring the BAU, the Behavior Analysis Unit of the FBI. They track down human behavior to find out who the sub is. There's 15 seasons. I'm currently on season 5, and what happens usually in an episode is the unsub commits a crime and the BAU is flown in to try to catch them, which they usually do. There's 7 main characters, and my favorite is Derek Morgan. And personally, my favorite episode is probably season 1, episode 5. Season 1 is a lot different from the other seasons because it's the beginning of the intro of the show, which is just wrapping in all the characters and what happens. And this is my favorite TV show because I like true crime and I would like to be an investigator when I grow up. And yeah, that's it.
Hello, I'm John Henry, but you probably don't want to hear my name, and so I'll get right to the review. The movie I'm reviewing is Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, which came out in 2005. In the first 3 movies, the Phantom Menace, The Clone Wars, and of course The Revenge of the Sith. Obi-Wan Kenobi and his Jedi Master find a mysterious boy called Anakin Skywalker, and they find that he is strong with the Force, a mysterious force, I guess, that connects all living things. They take him and train him to be a Jedi, but this guy, Emperor Palpatine, or he's not the Emperor, at the time he is the Senator. If you couldn't already tell, there's spoilers in this, but Senator Palpatine tries to turn Anakin to the dark side every so often during his Jedi training, and sends multiple Sith Lords to try and cause trouble. For example, Darth Maul, which is a guy that's covered in red and black tattoos for some reason, and kills Obi-Wan Kenobi's master, so Obi-Wan Kenobi has to train Anakin himself. In the third movie, Anakin repeatedly asks to be on the Jedi Council, and eventually they grant him permission, but don't make him a Jedi Master, which upsets him, and he loses faith in the Jedi. Meanwhile, he has he makes a former queen of the planet Naboo pregnant, who's also about 7 years older than him, and at first, and when Anakin finds out she's pregnant, at first he's happy, but then he has dreams of her dying in childbirth, but besides that, once he is on the Jedi Council, they task him with spying on Senator Palpatine, who they're suspicious of, for pretending to be kidnapped at the beginning of the movie. Anakin concludes that Palpatine is a Sith Lord, and the Sith are this religious group that uses the dark side of the Force, and Palpatine tries to tempt Anakin to turn to the dark side by saying he knows how to save Anakin's wife from dying in childbirth, but and nearly convinces Anakin, but he decides to report the treachery to a Jedi Master, and then the whole Jedi Council where most of the Jedi Council comes and tries to kill Palpatine, but just before one of the Jedi Masters can kill Palpatine, Anakin severs his hand in an attempt to try and save Palpatine, and then Palpatine uses his lightning hands to send everybody out the window and presumably kills them. And then Anakin is kind of forced by Palpatine to become a Sith Lord, and he later becomes known as Darth Vader. Then, in the later part of the movie, he starts slaughtering everyone and kills some young Jedis in training, and Obi-Wan Kenobi, at some point, is looking for Anakin, and then realizes that he killed a bunch of children, and then Yoda tells Obi-Wan Kenobi that he has to stop Anakin. So anyway, they travel to this big lava planet where the people who don't like the government are at, and then Anakin starts, in a blind rage, starts strangling Padme, who's his wife. I just remembered the name, with the Force, but before he can kill her, Obi-Wan Kenobi comes and starts dueling Anakin, and at the end, Obi-Wan wins and severs 3 out of Anakin's 4 limbs, and he goes into lava, but even though he's on fire, most of his limbs are gone by Obi-Wan Kenobi's lightsaber. He survives, and then he turns into a cyborg later, and becomes who we know today as Darth Vader. Anyway, this movie, I would rate it I would say a 4 out of 5 stars. The graphics, they're not terrible. I mean, the movie did come out a number of years ago. Given the year that came out, the graphics are pretty good, and they're not as good as the newest Star Wars movies graphics, but the costumes and special effects are a lot more realistic than the original Star Wars movies. The reviews for the prequel trilogy in Star Wars is not very good as a whole. People like Revenge of the Sith the best, but it still isn't the most popular Star Wars movie, to say the least. I disagree with with those reviews. It is true that the romance dialogue and the dialogue in general is pretty bad, and even George Lucas, the movie's creator, agrees with it. I agree with a lot of people that the music is very good, particularly since it was created by John Williams, who created a lot of great movie music, especially in the battle scenes. People tend to like the battle scenes a lot in the 3 prequel Star Wars movies, and they're pretty good, I would say. My favorite battle scene in Revenge of the Sith is probably Obi-Wan Kenobi versus Anakin, but I would say that the movie is very good overall, and you should check it out. You might want to watch the other Star Wars movies first. That's what I did. And people might try to say that those 3 Star Wars movies are bad, but they're still really good, and you should watch them. You should, especially Revenge of the Sith, and I hope you liked my review.
Hi, my name is Jenna, and this is my review of the TV series Gilmore Girls. Lorelai Gilmore is a young mom who had her daughter Rory at 16 years old. They share lots of funny inside jokes and have a very close relationship. We get to watch Rory grow up to be a woman and have her friends and her mom by her side. It shows the struggles of life and how they always find a way through them. Even though it is 7 seasons long, the episodes go by quick since they are so interesting and fun. I recommend the show for the comedy, romance, and drama and rate it a 9.5 out of 10.
Hi, my name is Evan, and I am reviewing the TV show Stranger Things. Before we start, there is going to be a spoiler warning. Okay, now, into the TV show. The main characters are Dustin, Lucas, Mike, and Will. They are just kind of a group of friends that hang out at school. They go to each other's houses. They have walkie-talkies that they contact each other with. And they're kind of just like a really close group of friends. And when they're hanging out, one of the times, they're just playing D&D when they start a fight with a Demogorgon, which is a monster in D&D. D&D is a board game and role-playing game, and it's also fantasy. You basically choose a race, which could be like an elf, a water genocide, if you're playing the old versions. It could be an orc. You could be mainly any fantasy race that you could think of. And you could be any class, like a bard, a warrior, a barbarian, a cleric, my personal favorite, a warlock. And you basically go around as a party, talking to NPCs, getting missions, and fighting things in the missions, trying to use your abilities to either outsmart the villain to defeat it, or to defeat the villain with just sheer power and luck. And basically, we are opening up to 4 best friends who are just kind of chilling, having life, getting to like a bit of trouble in school and stuff. And then, suddenly, Will goes missing while biking down a road. Like, he was last seen on his bike in the rain. And all of his friends are confused on what happened, so they kind of start looking for him and stuff. And then they call the police, which ends up being another character, Hopper, who is gonna, like, not really help them that much, planning on not helping them that much at the start. And then he goes to Will's mother, Joyce, and they start, like, kind of talking about last time he was seen, like, what happened, and stuff like that. And then, after that scene, Hopper goes back to his cabin and stuff, and a girl appears. And that girl has no name really, doesn't really talk that much at the start, like that he knows of. And as he starts investigating the town, as the kids start investigating the town, they start to realize weird things are happening that are kind of supernatural. And then another person, like, goes missing, and they start to suspect that something that wouldn't usually happen, something out of the ordinary, is happening, because she was at a party, and then she was just gone. And then they kind of find this creature, and they don't really know what it is, but because they don't know what it is, they, like, leave. And that's just the beginning of the TV show. I won't go too in depth of it so that I don't spoil that much more of it. But overall, I would rate it a 8 out of 10 because at some points it gets a little bit confusing, but you usually start to get it after a little while. But just because you get a bunch of confusion for a while at some bits, I'd rate it an 8 out of 10. But if you do play D&D, kinda like adult things with kids, then, or horror, then I'd recommend watching it. My name is Evan, and this is my review of Stranger Things.
Hi, I'm Jonathan, and here's my review of the movie Black Panther. Black Panther has scenes in a few different countries like South Korea and England, but most of the film takes place in a fictional African country called Wakanda. The protagonist is T'Challa. He's the Prince of Wakanda. Wakanda is believed to be a poor country by outsiders, but in reality, they're a highly developed civilization with megacities and superhuman abilities. This is because of a natural resource in the country called vibranium. However, the audience learns that there is a Wakandan trader named M'Baku in the United Kingdom who attempts to steal a vibranium artifact in a museum. M'Baku hears about the death of T'Challa's father, and he thinks that T'Challa is weak for his inability to protect his father from death. After T'Challa is crowned king, M'Baku challenges him to a duel for the throne. T'Challa is thrown into a nearby river as believed to be dead, making M'Baku king. M'Baku is strongly disliked by his people because he's pretty much a dictator to Wakanda. T'Challa is found alive beside a river, and he is healed by his family. The main conflict is the power struggle between M'Baku and T'Challa after M'Baku won the duel. Overall, I really enjoyed this film, and I would give it an 8.5 out of 10, but I wish there was some more action. I hope you enjoyed my review.
Hi, I'm Lucia, and I'm here to talk about The Owl House, mainly the episode Eclipse Lake in Season 2. A bit of background info on the show is that this girl named Luz Noceda finds her way into a portal which takes her to a demon realm, which is called the Boiling Isles. In this realm, she meets Ida, a witch, the most powerful one on the Boiling Isles, who lives in
the Owl House with her roommate Kane, the King of Demons, and Hootie, who is an owl that is on the door and is practically controls the house. And Luz in the episode Eclipse Lake is down with the common mold, and her friends are there to help her. But they are trying to get to the bottom of this problem to try and get Luz home and back to the human realm. And they do have this pet mouse that can play back information from another human's diary, that a human that found their way to the Boiling Isles. Luz is playing with the mouse, and the mouse ends up like giving off this information that tells that to get Titan's blood, which is a key ingredient to get back to the human realm, he traveled to Eclipse Lake and was able to find Titan's blood. Luz, obviously, being the kind of person she is like, oh my gosh, I need to go to Eclipse Lake. But her friends don't let her go because she is so out of it and is probably just going to get worse and more sick. So, Ida and Kane want to go to Eclipse Lake, and Amity, Luz's girlfriend, volunteers too, so she can try and prove to Luz that she is an awesome girlfriend. In this episode, they find themselves traveling to Eclipse Lake and come across the Golden Guard, who is the villain's right-hand man. The villain's name is Emperor Belos, and he is trying to get rid of wild witches, who are witches that try and perform magic without being in a coven, which is practically a group of witches that only perform one kind of magic. And Ida is a wild witch, so they're against him. And the Golden Guard is Belos' right-hand man, and he is going also to Eclipse Lake to try and prove to Belos that he is good enough, because the Emperor Belos also wants to get to the human realm. They stumble across the Golden Guard and take him as prisoner. They end up going to Eclipse Lake, and Amity is very suspicious of this Golden Guard. Meanwhile, back at the Owl House, Luz ends up figuring out that there is a type of blood called Fool's Blood that signifies a decaying Titan vein, and if you try and take it, the whole vein could come crashing down on it. The Titan's blood the Boiling Isles is technically built on this Titan who is dead. It's like the bones of the Titan. So Ida and Kane and Amity and the Golden Guard are in one of those decaying veins. They do not know that it is Fool's Blood, so they crack it open, and we all can see where that goes. So in this episode, I would give it a 9.5 out of 10 because I love this series and I would definitely recommend watching it.
One great movie to watch is Enola Holmes. Based on a book by Nancy Springer, this action-packed movie shows the adventures of Sherlock Holmes' younger sister. Enola, whose name is the word alone spelled backwards, is great at puzzles, self-defense, and word games, which come in handy when her mother goes missing. She runs away from home after her brothers decide to send her to finishing school and tries to solve the mystery of where to find her mom. The real question is, though, does she really want to be found? This movie, which can be found on Netflix, is full of mystery and action, which are very entertaining. Just when you think the mystery is solved, a new problem arises, which keeps the plot interesting. I definitely recommend watching it. It's mostly family friendly, and if you like mystery and action, it's a great choice.